What's the stupidest thing someone has said to you with confidence? Someone once told me that smoking cigs will help treat my asthma because my lungs would be building a tolerance to the smoking, and that means that I won't have such a hard time during asthma attacks because my lungs would already be used to the strain that smoking causes. He even tried to back it up with my friends had asthma and they smoke. Coworker of mine after they find out I'm colorblind, so you can't see this? / is holding a red tray we use to carry orders out. Yay, but wait, you can see the tray? / confused for a moment, did you think I couldn't see the object because it's red? Well duh, if you're colorblind you can't see things that are that color, right? They aren't invisible to me, you dumbass, I just can't properly tell what color it is. Edit. I know the trays were red because they were literally called the red trays. Edit 2. Deciding to put in a second story regarding people and my colorblindness. I was playing Rocket League with a buddy. We're in my club/clan thingy and got matched against people in a different one, so the team colors were used instead of the standard ones. Our team's was white and the others was apparently a green. I complain about it being difficult to distinguish which net to shoot at sometimes, and my buddy asks, do you want me to screenshot my screen and send you a picture so you can see their color? I stayed silent and let him think about what he said. It took him about a minute before he realized what he had asked. I as a tiny child thought the same thing. My dad's colorblind as well, so I painted all the eggs green for Easter and hid them on top of bushes and was so proud that he wouldn't be able to find them. I'll admit he put on a good show on how there were no eggs at all. So I had to bring them all back and they were invisible. He's a good dad. He said he could only see them if we busted them on the concrete, so it might have been an excuse to bust a dozen eggs on the grounds. If you ever fall out of a plane without a parachute, you should grab onto the ground when you hit it so that you don't bounce, because that is the bounce that kills you, not the first impact. He swore that it was true and that a skydiving instructor had told him. I believe the skydiving instructor told him that, but the skydiving instructor probably thought he was smart enough to get the joke. Skydiving instructors have a litany of stupid crap they say to lighten the mood. You're about to jump out of a perfectly good airplane on purpose. We had a block of instruction prior to my jump and my instructor was telling us about the reserve chute. If your primary fails to open, you have the rest of your life to deploy your reserve. This reminds me a guy I knew that rode a Harley and said that because you're seated in an upright position, if you get in an accident you can just lunge upward and grab the power lines. And that other motorcycles where you're leaned forward are more dangerous because those people just go straight forward into another car during an accident. People in high school didn't believe me when I told them that English came from England and was indigenous to England. Similarly, for some reason, someone in college insisted that English was indigenous to America. I was in NYC for a holiday and someone I was speaking to asked me if I was French. I said no, I am English, and she told me I wasn't speaking real English. I had to explain to her that that would be difficult considering I speak English and am from England. She did not see the irony. I was in NYC for a holiday and someone I was speaking to asked me if I was French. I said no, I am English, and she told me I wasn't speaking real English. I had to explain to her that that would be difficult considering I speak English and am from England. She did not see the irony. My brother-in-law said that black people have 6 toes. I'm black and said that isn't true. We actually argued over it. Should have just removed a shoe and showed him. Oh yeah? Well, see for yourself. Immediately proves your point, plus, establishes dominance. Space was created by Disney to further the hoax of space/Earth being round. He was dead serious, and he quoted his own brain after much research as his source. I wish I was kidding. Wow, what an idiot. Everyone knows Disney created the hoax of space in order to sell more copies of Star Wars. Flat earther quotes would dominate here. My front desk gym rep. I gave them a 1-week free gym membership, March 27th to March 35th. And it would have been March 34th anyhow. Exactly. So many levels of dumb. They even hand-wrote a 1-week free membership card out with the same dates. I didn't see the card until the member came in the next day and showed it to me to check in for the day. They didn't even say anything. Everybody knows. Web link. If anything, they should argue that the past never expires because the date it expires on never happens, so it cannot actually expire. A distant cousin, who has long been a complete dumbass, once told me that whatever direction she is facing is north. It came up when I was on the phone giving someone directions and she was nearby. I said something like go north on X street, then take a left on Y, etc. She overheard me and said that I didn't make any sense because whatever direction you're facing is north, so north changes depending on which way you are facing. I said no, north is north, it's only the direction you're facing if you happen to be facing north, and she started arguing with me over it. She definitely was not just effing with me because she is a dumbass that has a long history of saying really stupid crap. Your cousin is a compass, which is short for complete ass. I like this wording. Well, no matter which way she faces, the map says north is straight ahead, so. Has she ever been to the South Pole? She'd be correct there. She wouldn't be able to figure out how to get to the South Pole because every time she tried to get there she'd be heading north. She just has to walk backwards and she'll get there eventually. Thought I had a horrible sense of direction because I'd get lost anytime I had to follow head north on tight directions. It wasn't a big deal to me. GPS had been a thing for years and everyone has a cell phone and navigation anyway. And I continued my hiking to well-marked trails when I'd go out adventuring. A friend offered to help figure out my error because it wasn't like sense of direction is relevant when following instructions. He wrote up directions from his hunting cabin over to the duck blind, and we both had a compass and the instructions. Walked out onto the porch, took a few steps, and realized we were both going in different directions. He came back over to see how I'd managed to get lost already. Head southeast 300 meters, okay, get red pointy direction thing to southeast, walk 300 meters. He gave me a funny look and asked if I knew how compasses worked. Of course, magnetic north attract, oh. That she could never use a sperm donor to have a kid, because she wasn't 100% sure that the baby/child would speak English. It's probably for the best that she won't use a sperm donor. I would have to agree with her and let her know it's definitely a bad idea to have kids. When I was moving to Hawaii, I had a friend ask if they had cars/roads there. She believed they got around using tiny boats. Imagine saying you are from Egypt. F houses, all my homies live in pyramids. And travel strictly by camels, nothing else. When I went into the nuclear navy, I got the equivalent to a PhD in nuclear engineering in 6 months. All the real nuclear engineers just fell down laughing. Talk about brainwashing. Having gone through that program, I can attest that it's rigorous. Having gotten out of the nuclear navy and going to college to study nuclear engineering, I can attest they are not the same. The Greeks didn't have metal. Even to this day their cars are made out of a sturdy balsa. That's true, metal music still is not present in Greece to this day. Anything deemed too metal by the government is adjusted before the population's consumption of the media to lower volume, lighten harsh vocals, and edits out the word metal and then rebranded as hard rock. Oh, I don't believe in electrons. I've never seen one, have you? No, I didn't think so. I guess they're trying to be more positive. You shouldn't wear a seatbelt because, in the event of a crash, you're better off being thrown out of the car than being trapped in it. As an EMT, it would certainly be less paperwork. Right? Wounds incompatible with life chart, done. I love that phrase, incompatible with life. It's such a careful wording, lol. His head is here and his body is over there. This is, in my professional opinion, abnormal from the typical human condition. And in your unprofessional opinion? He dead. In the auto industry we have to use could not duplicate concern when really it's just like nothing's wrong with the car, lol. Unable to replicate in the software industry. If I can't make the bug happen, it doesn't exist. AKA works fine on my system. Everyone has that anecdote about an uncle who would have burned alive if he hadn't been thrown clear of the car. You know who you don't hear from? All the people who died because they didn't wear their seat belt. You're not Asian, you're Chinese. She's Asian. You don't know that, she could be Korean. The effort to be safe is hilarious. I get this all the time. Along with, do you speak Asian or Chinese? I'm Vietnamese, by the way. I was once asked if I spoke Canadian or American. I replied I speak English. He looked at me and said, oh, the language they speak in England then. You're from England? I thought you said you were from Canada? You don't speak Canadian? The entire conversation was conducted in English. Was talking to an old hippie about weed once. He insisted that there existed 2 different kinds of grams, metric and imperial. He must have been high. A few of my co-workers and I went out to eat after work to a local bar and grill. One of my co-workers is pescatarian. Another one of my co-workers, Chris, is prone to speaking with absolute confidence about things he has incredibly little knowledge about. Janice, pescatarian, orders buffalo shrimp, which is listed under a header of wings and bites. Chris with supreme confidence corrects her and says, no dear, those are wings. He got possibly the dirtiest look I've ever seen as the table started laughing at him uncontrollably. My old roommate and I went to dinner at a nice restaurant one night. I ordered a veal dish, and she got lamb. After our orders were placed, she started to scold me about how could you eat a baby animal? That's so sad and mean and disgusting. She apparently did not know that lamb was a baby sheep and had eaten it regularly all her life. I had a roommate in college who visited Spain and thought that it was hilarious that people there commented on his accent. For him, I don't have an accent. I'm an American. Tom, you're one of the reasons that people think that we're all stupid. In a similar vein, a friend of mine in college had a boyfriend from the UK. You would not believe how many people asked him how he was able to speak English so well. It was horrifying. I was having a conversation with someone from the UK and one of my friends complimented his accent. He said he liked our accents as well and she just goes, we don't have an accent, haha. The look of utter confusion on this dude's face killed me. Had a buddy from Sheffield. He'd come visit us hillbillies, TN, every so often. Some girls we were hanging out with had just met him. One made a comment about his accent, she found it sexy. He said thanks. She asked if their accents were bad. He replied, you sound like effing cartoons. Sheffield? Sexy? Interesting edit. Just realized this looks like I'm now planning on going to Sheffield to find hot dudes. I'm not going 30 minutes down the road. I was just surprised that my accent would be considered sexy. I'm an American and some accents from this country are still hard to understand for me. I'm an American and some accents from this country are still hard to understand for me. I work with long-haul truckers and I literally had to explain time zones to one of them. It blew my mind. Didn't he wonder why the time kept changing? I work with long-haul truckers and I literally had to explain time zones to one of them. It blew my mind. Didn't he wonder why the time kept changing? This reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where Kramer set his watch ahead a week before daylight savings time. Also the Veep episode where Jonah kept missing stuff because he forgot to set his clock back, and then he set it in the wrong direction. Try explaining the idea of a single time zone, where it could be 3 p.m. and dinner time where you are, but 3 p.m. and breakfast in another part of the world. 1/4 is greater than half. You should try to incorporate cinnamon and apple cider vinegar into your diet, then you can get off the insulin and use more natural products to control your blood sugar. I'm a type 1 diabetic. Have you tried not being diabetic? I honestly have, and it landed me in the ICU laughing out loud. If you just quit taking your insulin, then you could live the rest of your life without it. / fellow type 1 here. Technically correct is the best kind of correct. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.